Wait until it's recording. Do you get a notification, by the way, that it's recording, or does it just like does it tell you you are recording?
Yeah, I can see that it's recording. Yes.
Yeah,
Right,
there's a
cool.
little symbol at the top that tells
Yeah.
you it's recording.
Oh, okay. No worries. So, yeah. Obviously, last session we talked about a week where everything came from sort of the outside situation that we were handed. Obviously, that wasn't last week, but that was a few weeks ago now. And the lesson about the story was basically to tell you, when the hard thing is external, you know, it's more often than not it's a temporary thing. And today is a different kind of hard because today we're talking about the weeks where you are the one who slipped. I've been talking about this a bit in my content, and it's been, I suppose the way I'm framing it funny on social media, but maybe I'm coming across a bit abrasive. But I mean, you can be the ones to tell me that. Hey, you're a bit mean online, D, because I don't want to be mean. But it's about what you were supposed to do. You had a plan, and it still fell apart, and that's one thing. But then you said to yourself something in your head, whatever it is, and I want to ask you what it was. Not like if you haven't slipped up this week, fine. Find a week where you did mix up, and what did you say to yourself? Because I want to know the tone of voice. And I want you don't have to say it out loud what you were saying to yourself, but I just want you to think about it for a second and think about the last time I do, obviously, in this journey. So think about what you said to yourself and what was that tone of voice, right? For most people who watch this, the voice is not kind. We've talked about this before. It's not patient. It's not. It does not sound like a friend. It sounds like a critic who's been waiting for this moment, waiting for you to slip up and just go, got you. And today I want to sort of show you something that you should, I don't know, probably already suspect, but you have not been given permission to fully believe, maybe. But the voice is not keeping you in line. I talk about being honest with yourself and being radically honest with yourself, and being aware of those shortcomings, because then we can improve, but not being a critic of them, not being like, you stupid idiot, you should have done this and this. Because the reason I say that is because the research backs me up. It shows that the single biggest reason you are likely to quit is if you are too hard on yourself. And before we get into that, I want to name the belief that is running underneath for most women, because it's most, universal. It's almost never questioned because loads of people have it. And the belief is this: being hard on yourself is what keeps you accountable. That is the belief. And if you let yourself off the hook, if you are too kind to yourself after a slip, you will just keep slipping, right? The harshness there is the thing that holds the standard. Without it, you will get soft and everything will slide. That is the belief. The belief is usually not something that we choose consciously. It's obviously handed to us through schooling, through schools used to shame us as a behavior management tool. Just diet culture that's failed you and made mishaps a character flaw when they're not. And it's all been done by a world that's confused sort of self-criticism with self-awareness and called it discipline. And I don't like the self-criticism thing. I love the self-awareness thing because you get to learn so much about yourself, and then you can make decisions from there from a position of love for yourself and opportunity and hope, rather than you are like self-criticism and you are stupid, you should have been able to do this. And the thing is, with this belief, because it came in so early into our lives, it was reinforced so consistently, in some more than others, by grandparents, by parents, by friends, so-called friends, bullies, whatever it is. It feels really true. It feels like, oh, it's just the way things are, right? Of course, being hard on yourself makes you do better. Of course, kindness would make you slack off, except the data sort of says the opposite. The research says the opposite. And I mean that plainly. I don't mean it as a motivational phrase, as in like, you know, kindness makes like it's the research is backing this up. Does it, like, just a quick one, just unmute yourself. Does the belief sound familiar? Have you caught yourself thinking that being kind to yourself would make you worse, not better? Like, if I'm too soft on myself, I won't be doing this, and this.
I think with me, I sort of, when I know I'm making a poor choice or whatever, or I'm what I call I'll have a cheat or whatever. I'll sit down with whatever I'm eating or drinking or whatever, and I'll say, "This, you shouldn't be having this, but you're going to have it anyway." And then later on, or if I've eaten mindlessly, I do berate myself and say, you know, that wasn't, good for you. So why have you done it?
Yeah.
So
it's that berating that we don't need. It's, if we do something, but I also don't think, like, we think that kindness makes us slack off if you're just too kind to yourself. Like, I don't, I'm going to talk about the data in a minute, but essentially, I don't think that belief pattern serves us. There was a psychologist called Kristin Neff at the University of Texas, and she has spent her career studying self-compassion, and what it means by self-compassion is very specific in that sense, because self-compassion is not self-pity. It is not letting yourself off the hook. It is not pretending the slip did not happen, because we're just lying to ourselves then. So the way that she defines it is three things working together. Firstly, treating yourself with the same kindness you would offer a close friend in the same situation, rather than that harsh judgment. Most of us don't do that. Secondly, recognizing that struggle and failure are part of being human. They are part of the journey. It's not evidence that you are specifically broken or uniquely flawed and you are bound to fail. That is not the case. Third is holding your emotions with some balance, feeling them without fully suppressing them or being completely swept away by them. I suppose that is the definition of self-compassion. And across a large body of her research, and research has been replicated since, across different populations, so it's not across men only, it's not across women only, it's not across people who are clinically midget. What's the term for those? Dwarfs? Do we say
dwarfism?
Dwarfism. Do we say dwarfs now?
Well, they say little people now.
Okay, then. There we go. Little people. So, it's not just, it's across the whole spectrum of people, right? And essentially, women who score higher on self-compassion recover from setbacks faster. So they are more likely, they're essentially more motivated after failure. They're not less. They don't just go, "I've fucked up, and this is the worst thing that can happen to me," and they sort of catastrophize down, and just spiral essentially. So they're more likely to then just bounce back up and go, "All right, cool, let's go again, let's keep going." And the women who are harshly self-critical after a slip are more likely, significantly more to just give up entirely, right? Self-criticism does not protect your standards. It makes quitting more likely. So that inner voice that says, "I've completely ruined it, I've got no self-control, what is the point of even trying?" It's not the thing holding you to a high standard. It is the thing that's most likely to push you out that fucking door, and get gone. Because, and the thing is, that is not perspective. That is what the research says. That's not just my view based on, I've been doing this 20 years now. And so then we start to go, now we're aware that we start to think about the mechanism. So whenever you understand why something happens, it makes it easier to firstly believe, to comprehend, because it really is counterintuitive when I say that, because you think if you don't understand it, you'll just dismiss it. So let me show you the mechanism, right? So we've got harsh self-talk triggers shame, doesn't it? Because you're feeling quite like you're critical of yourself. And shame is a very specific emotional state. It's not guilt. which is I've done something wrong. It's shame, which says I am something wrong. And shame has a very particular effect on behavior. It makes us want to hide. It makes us want to withdraw. It makes us want to avoid the thing that caused the shame. That's why if you ever have a call with Yoel and myself, or if you're ever getting feedback from us, we'll never shame you into change. We'll never go, you have done this really poorly. Like, because what are you going to do? You're just going to retreat, hide, and avoid. Well, firstly, you're going to avoid being open with us, so we can't help you through those challenges. But it's also not a. We don't want you to feel that emotion, especially around such a sensitive topic of weight loss. So we need to think about, obviously, think about what happens after the bad day. All right, that inner critic has been in full voice saying whatever it's been saying. Whenever that's happened, let's say you've had a binge on the night. Let's say you've had I don't know, Friday night binge, and you woke up Saturday, you're like, why did I do that? Do you wake up next morning energized and motivated to do better after a night like that? Or do you just feel kind of low, like a low level dread and a reluctance to sort of revisit, that episode? Maybe a pull just to start afresh on a Monday and not think about it till then. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because I think that pull away from the thing is a shame response. You're feeling quite shameful, and it is the self criticism that's created that shame in the first place. So because nobody opens the door for a salad while they're drowning in shame. It's a very, very negative emotion. They open it for comfort. They want to get out of that because that shame is, we've all felt it at one point in our life for whatever reason, whether it's, something that, most likely haven't deserved. I mean, we've all felt it and it's unbearable. And food is a very fast relief to just get us feeling a bit better about ourselves. So the harshness does not just fail to help, it actively creates the conditions for the next slip up, the next, and that self compassion does the opposite. It keeps you in the room with the problem. So it lets you look at what happened honestly. And that's what I really love. And that's what, I've been putting up a bit of content every day and just saying, like, have you looked at yourself to see if you are the problem? And I mean that. And maybe, you can say you've worded it wrong, Dean. You're coming across a mean bastard. But I don't mean it to be like that. And if that is the case, I need to revisit my wording. But I want it to be more of a case of what happened, what did I need in that moment that I did not have, and what would I do differently? I mean it in that sense. If I've slipped up, I am the reason, but what didn't I have, or what did I do, or what didn't I do that I should have done? And that is where we start to be more self-compassionate about ourselves. And that is a question that you can only ask from a place of steadiness. You cannot ask it from inside shame, right? So if ever you feel that, if you ever feel shame, firstly, you're not wrong for feeling shame. It might be the wrong response, but experience that. And once you come out of it, then you can ask yourself those questions, because self-compassion, basically, actually, I should deal with that directly. The thing that I can probably ought to see, hear some of you thinking, is because it is the thing that makes women most resistant to this idea, is that self-compassion does not mean letting yourself off the hook. That's not what I mean. It's not like a couple of our clients are going through like a period of grief, right? And I'm saying, you've got to be compassionate to yourself and stuff. And that's not me saying you have to eat all the chocolates in the world. It does not mean have another biscuit. It does not mean lower your standards, or just, you training or you not walking is optional, entirely up to you. It's not that. The piece of research that backs me up is that I find quite striking is that self-compassion, people who are self-compassionate actually take more personal responsibility for their mistakes, not less. So, and it's not because they're being hard on themselves, but because they are not too busy defending themselves from their own inner critic to look at honestly at what happened. Because when you're drowning in shame, a huge amount of energy goes into managing that shame. You're justifying it, you're minimizing it, you're avoiding it, you're defending it. There's fuck all energy left for actual honesty about what went wrong. And then self-compassion comes in, frees that energy up. It is what makes genuine accountability possible rather than blocking it. So self-compassion is not soft. It is actually what makes you capable of the kind of honest self-reflection that improves things. So you've got harshness, the harshness that sort of produces a defense. You're putting your walls up. You've got kindness produces honesty, and honesty is what leads to behavior change. Right. So perimenopause, menopause, doesn't matter. Um, it does, those stages of life change the picture in a way that I think is really important to name. When progesterone declines, one of the first things that goes is your natural mood regulation and the quiet sense of okayness that most women do not notice until it's missing. Your nervous system becomes more reactive. Your negative emotional states like hit harder and they last longer. You find it harder to just regulate yourself. The critical inner voice gets louder. It's as if it's just turned up the dial and you've done nothing different. It gets more persuasive as well. That hormonal buffer that you had has sort of softened, it's thinned, and in perimenopause it flattens out if you're on HRT. So you might have this version of this inner critic running through your, throughout your whole life, and it was unpleasant, but you managed it. Then in your, late 40s, early 50s, whenever you started to enter perimenopause, it's like fucking hell, it's got worse. It's relentless. It's convincing me that I'm nothing, I'm this, I'm that. And it isn't you weaker. It's the biology sort of changing the volume. It's turning the dial up, the decibels. And it means that the self-compassion skill is not just nice to have at this stage. It is genuinely a necessary equipment piece, tool, whatever you want to call it, for navigating this chapter where your own internal environment is working against you. Right? So I can hear people go, how do I do this? So I think because I'm aware that I am telling, you people watching this and those on replay to be kinder to themselves, that is not just an instruction that they can follow it and go, oh yeah, I know what that means. Who knows what that looks like in real time? Does that look like a bubble bath? Does that look like a self hug? What does that look like? I think the simplest version I know is the next time you slip, before you get a chance, that inner critic comes in, full voice, just ask yourself a question quick. So what would I say? It's so simple. I've said it before. What would I say to my closest friend if she told me exactly the thing that I've just done? Not a stranger, not someone you're trying to be polite to, your actual closest friend. What would Dean Viola tell you? What would the one that you love tell you? Unless he's a bugger, unless he's a really critical bugger. Don't think about that if he is. But I know for you guys' case it's not. But these people who love you, they want the best for you. What would they do? If somebody called you, your best friend called you, said, I had a terrible week. I completely fell off everything I was trying to do. I feel awful about it. What would you say? You'd say, well, you've only got yourself to blame. You wouldn't say that, would you? You'd say, you clearly have no self-control. You're always doing this. What is wrong with you? You'd say, like, it sounds like you're having a really tough week. I know you were really trying hard this week to sort of dot your I's and cross your T's. What's going on for you? What do you need right now? What is the next thing you can do? I saw a Simon Sinek video the other day about, I think people who are in like mentally loaded with loads of stuff. They're really stressed. They just need 7 minutes of your time. And he said, whenever someone's struggling, they just send me a message. They've got 7 minutes, and he knows that they're struggling. They just need to be heard for 7 minutes. That's all they need, which is crazy. And I'm going to start implementing that now. If any of my family or any of you guys, struggling for whatever reason, then you got 7 minutes. We'll just jump on the phone because more often than not, it's just someone we need just to talk to and just, flesh things out. I know myself, I've had to learn this a lot over my years of coaching, and Viola's helped me loads. Is someone, clients will come to us with a problem. I've got this problem, and I'll be like, I've got the solution. Badoom. Shh, be quiet. Shh, be quiet. I've got the solution. And I wasn't listening, to the problem first. Some people they know what they need to do. They just need they just need to be heard. Let's say it's a stressful work situation. Sometimes the coaching calls can go on. Normally they're 15 minutes, but you'll ask Sharon, you'll ask Laura, anyone that it never lasts 15 minutes. I've been on the phone to them for like half an hour before, and just sort of going through stuff. Sometimes it's deep stuff. Sometimes it's just stuff that just helps you just talk things through. And that's essentially what you would do for a friend. So notice that what that friend would say is moving you. It's encouraging you to keep moving forward, isn't it? It's not going. It involves being honest about what happened. It's still asking, okay, what is? I said, what is the next right thing you can do? It still asks about what's coming next. What are you doing next to do it? It's not soaked in shame on the way there, and that your job is to talk to yourself about the way that you would talk to her. No, not always, not perfectly, not every time you're going to get this right, but enough times that the default starts to shift in your favor. So I just want one sentence from you both. What would you say to your best friend if she had a really difficult last week? Let's say she put on a kilo and she was maybe even not even weight loss related. Maybe it was just a tough week and she was like, I just had too much wine. What would you say to her? One sentence.
I think I would probably say something along the lines of, you can't change what's happened.
Yeah.
We all wish we could time travel and change things, but you can't. You need to try and draw a line under it and just make choices you'll be happier with from today.
Love it.
Yeah.
You know why I love it? I'll come to you in a second, Carol, because you literally mentioned everything. You gave her space to feel heard. You then said, draw a line in the sand, essentially saying, what is the next right thing you can do? You know what I mean? You're drawing a line in the sand is you saying, that's that there. Now what's next? Your next step is you can do your best from now, like whether it's a meal, whether it's whatever it is. I love that. You just nailed that perfectly. Were you going to say something similar, Carol?
Yeah, very similar. I think the only the so acknowledging that last week wasn't the best or whatever. And again, draw that line. There's nothing you can do about what's already happened, so forget it. All you've got control of now is what's coming next. So, we can have a look at what have you got on next week. Maybe you can try this, that and the other, maybe ideas for them to stick with it. So,
I love it. I love it. The thing I want you to take away from this session is write it down if you can. The self-compassion is not the consolation prize for women who cannot manage discipline. It is the evidence-backed drive of resilience. So you got to think about harshness is never the strategy to achieve your goals. Whether your goal is to lose, 10 kilos, whether your goal is to learn to play the guitar, whether it's to start a side business, being harsh on yourself is never going to be the strategy to growth. It feels like it because it's the one we're taught. Like look at the people on The Biggest Loser. They are shamed into. I fucking hate that program. It really upsets me watching it because they're shamed into their weight loss. Of course, they lose the weight because they can't eat anything. They're doing this crazy cardio but if you see them after, they've all regained the weight. All of them are as big as they were. You can't shame that change. It's not a strategy. And so your homework for me this week is one: if you slip, if you do any slip, doesn't matter this week. If it happens, before that inner critic comes in, write down what you would say to your best friend in the same situation. Nip it in the bud straight away. That is it. One moment, one rewrite of the subconscious. And then, if it does happen, drop it in the community. Write what you said to yourself first and then write the friend version. Maybe you go, you bloody arsehole, you fucked up. Oh, you're having a tough week. I want to see in the comments if that happens. If I don't see anything in the comments, I assume it didn't happen. and all the merrier. But yeah, we'll be checking out this week to just make sure there is, because I think what you write there is going to show you something about the gap between how you treat the people you love and how you treat yourself. And normally the gap of that is quite large.
Mm.
Yeah. So
Mm.
the gap though is closable, and that's what this series is about. That's what the mindset. I love the mindset stuff because I think the biggest transformation that we will have on a journey is between the real estate between our ears. And we can talk the physiology all day, but if we don't get this on the right path, the body won't follow. The mind will always lead the body.
Mm.
So yeah, cool. Any questions?
Well, I go away early Thursday morning till
Oh yeah.
Monday in the camper. Now,
Yeah.
normally when I go away in the camper, I'm cooking. This time there's a massive group, and I've already been told Thursday night it's curry night, Friday night it's burger night, Saturday night it's barbecue night, and I'm like, oh God,
They never make it easy, do they?
and, I'm like, I rarely do barbecue, I don't do burgers, curry I would have, but it depends how it's made.
Yep.
So, so I've not got a great deal of control over what's going to go, what's food is available this weekend.
True.
So I am taking some that I could, so long as I get back to eat what I take, which is the big question, then I can probably control a little bit. But
you're in control of the size, though, no? The portion of it. You're not in control of what you eat. Like the barbecue is a bit easier because you can probably just have skewers or something. They probably do, if they do that, but they'll probably just do burgers and sausages. And Sharon would be screwed there because she'd be like, "Where's my vegetarian option?"
Yeah.
I've got some slices of cheese for you, Sharon. Normally, those kind of people don't have vegan options.
No.
But you are in control of everything outside of those meals. But it's such a special occasion. You need to have those meals, even if other options were the case. I would say in that instance, this is a
one-off
life experience.
Yeah. The way I'm looking at it is, I'm out of control basically for those days. But then when I'm back, I can get straight back on it and eat properly to try and pull back whatever I've lost, whatever had gone on, I can control again when I get back.
Do you feel out of control for the whole of the time rather than just those meals?
Just those meals, because I've already packed things because I'm going so early on Thursday. I've just been shopping and put them in the fridge. So I've already taken things for breakfast and lunch if I have lunch. And I've got loads of fruit in there as well. So I can do those meals and I'm in control of those. But then the evening meals are the ones where it's more difficult. So, yeah.
I would just be like, for you, I would obviously enjoy those evening meals, but I'd just pull back to one brunchy type meal that you control.
Yeah.
And just make it as nutrient dense as possible. And, your steps will be what your steps will be. I don't know if you'll get many steps because it's...
Well, it depends. It depends because it's the racing that Terry used to do. It's the national championships for that. And it depends where we end up parked because I don't think we'll be parking on the actual racing field. I think we'll be either 1 or 2 or maybe even 3 fields away from the racing field. So it depends which distance we end up parked, as to how much walking we get in and how often we go back to the camper.
That's it.
Yeah.
Wow. It's going to be a good one. But no, I would enjoy it. I just control what you can control. Control the controllables, and whatever's outside your control, you just limit the amount that goes in. So if offering you a burger, you have a burger that's you don't go back for seconds or thirds or
To be honest, these days my portion sizes are so much smaller than they used to be. I can't eat more than 1 burger anyway. Not that they're my first choice. So this time I've bought some chicken burgers, and I'm thinking, well, that's a healthier option than because it's the minced beef ones. I just find them so greasy. I just can't, I just don't enjoy them at all. So I'm hoping I actually get one of my chicken burgers once it comes back off the barbecue. So just have to see what happens.
Just put a little flag in it, Carol.
Yeah.
It's mine.
Yeah, that's the one.
That'll be a cool experience. Your weekend's pretty locked in, isn't it, Sharon?
Yeah, my weekend this week is going to be work, and work.
Oh, God.
When does Strictly start?
It's starting, I think it's sort of towards the end of September.
Oh, not ages. What's on now, Love Island?
Love Island finished yesterday. It was the final yesterday.
You're sad?
Well, I'm wondering what I'm going to watch. But then again, Love Island USA was on pretty much at the same time, and that's now available on ITVX. So I'll probably start watching Love Island USA.
Calm.
That's one programme I just I skip that one. I don't do that one.
Yeah. Love Island.
Yeah, I get a bit addicted to it.
Yeah, I think we do, don't we? I mean, I never used to watch I'm a Celeb, and then I started watching it, and now I can't miss it when it's on.
I love I'm a Celeb. Absolutely love I'm a Celeb.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Easy.
I don't want to get hooked on another one, so no, I'm skipping Love Island.
I'll love you and leave you. Have a nice evening.
You too.
All right.
Yeah, and
Thanks very much, Dean. Yeah. Hope you're settled.
Thanks. We are.
Yeah. Good. Yeah.
Right. I'll enjoy your week.
You too. See you, Dean. Bye. See you, Sharon.